You are running. Running as if chasing something important, yet the faster you move, the further the goal drifts away. Your days are a relentless stream of obligations, deadlines, meetings, and promises, given not to yourself, but to someone else. Your mind is a battlefield, where the swords of unfinished tasks clash, and above you, the banners of false ideals flutter. You believe that success lies just beyond the horizon, that if you push a little harder, endure a little longer, speed up just a bit more, then finally, happiness will be yours. Fools! Does a tiger worry about tomorrow while hunting? Does a river agonize over where its current will take it? Only man, lost in the maze of his own haste, mistakes chaos for progress. Speed is a poison that robs life of its taste. It strips you of everything, making each moment feel like an obstacle rather than a treasure. You do not drink your coffee, you gulp it down. You do not listen to music, you merely wait for the track to end. You do not live your day, you endure it, as if pushing through yet another mile in an endless marathon. But where does this race lead? To sleepless nights, anxious mornings, and the constant feeling that you are always behind, always lacking. This is slavery, not with chains, not with walls, but with the illusion that freedom lies in moving faster. You must slow down, not because you are tired, but because those who run blindly are the first to fall. Haste is not a sign of strength, it is a mask for fear. Fear of facing yourself. Only in stillness does clarity emerge. Only in calmness is power born. And only he who commands his own time commands his own life. Cast off the shackles of society's expectations. From the moment you take your first breath, society begins its quiet work, molding you like a sculptor who never asks what you wish to become. You are given a name, a role, a path already paved with expectations. Be obedient. Be productive. Be liked. Follow the rules. Chase the prescribed dreams. Fit into the structure designed long before you ever had a choice. And should you dare to step out of line, society will bare its teeth, whispering in 1,000 voices, "Who do you think you are?" You are taught that your worth is measured by how well you play the game, how closely you mirror the desires of others. They tell you to be ambitious, but not too bold. To stand out, but not too much. To be successful, but never at the cost of making others uncomfortable. You are not living, you are performing. A puppet tangled in strings, believing the movement is your own. And yet, no matter how perfectly you play your part, it will never be enough. Society is an insatiable beast, forever shifting its demands, always hungry for more of you. One day you are too loud, the next, too silent. One moment, too reckless, the next, too cautious. It will twist you in circles, force you to apologize for being too much, then scold you for not being enough. But tell me, why bow to a master who is never satisfied? Why spend your days chasing approval that evaporates the moment you grasp it? The strongest souls are those who refuse to kneel, who tear off the mask and declare, "I am not here to please you." Radical freedom is not granted, it is taken. It is the act of stepping off the stage, burning the script, and walking away from the applause. It is the terrifying, exhilarating moment when you realize that no permission is needed to be exactly who you are. Let them talk. Let them disapprove. Let them shake their heads and whisper your name like a warning. The weight of their judgment is nothing compared to the unbearable heaviness of a life unlived. You owe society nothing, but you owe yourself everything. Do not waste your soul on the theater of others. The world is drowning in noise, in endless wails of disappointment, anger, and suffering. Everywhere you turn, someone is desperate for your attention, your energy, your outrage. They pull at your sleeves, beg for your sympathy, demand that you step into their storm and call it solidarity. And if you refuse, then you are heartless, cold, indifferent, a villain in their endless, self-inflicted tragedy. But tell me, how much of your life have you already sacrificed at the altar of other people's chaos? How many nights have you spent carrying burdens that were never yours to bear? How often has your peace been shattered by tempests that should never have been your concern? They do not seek resolution, they seek an audience. They do not want to be saved, they want to consume you, to make their suffering yours, so they do not have to bear it alone. Compassion is not servitude. To feel deeply is a gift, but to squander that feeling on those who feast upon your kindness is weakness. There is a difference between offering a hand to the drowning and allowing them to drag you into the abyss with them. The wise man knows this. Not every cry for help is sincere, and not every wound can be healed by your touch. You must learn the art of distance. Let them rage. Let them lament their endless misfortunes, their imagined betrayals, their self-inflicted wounds. Do not rush to extinguish every fire, for some men only set themselves ablaze to watch others burn alongside them. Observe, but do not absorb. A lion does not weep for the gazelle, nor does the mountain tremble for the storm that passes over it. Your peace is sacred. Guard it fiercely. Waste it on no one. Those who truly seek wisdom will find it. The rest? Let them drown in their own storms, for they were never seeking salvation, only company in their misery. The man who chases everything catches nothing. There is a sickness that plagues the modern soul, a relentless hunger, an insatiable greed disguised as ambition. You want everything. Success, recognition, love, power, knowledge, adventure. You stretch your hands in all directions, convinced that if you run fast enough, grasp hard enough, you can seize it all. But the more you clutch, the more slips through your fingers. The more roads you take, the more lost you become. You have been deceived into believing that fulfillment lies in accumulation. More achievements, more experiences, more goals, more victories. But this is not progress. It is a fever. A restless, desperate sickness that keeps you moving, keeps you grasping, until you collapse beneath the weight of your own desires. There is a reason the greatest minds, the strongest men, the true masters of life walk a singular path. They are not scattered, not pulled in 1,000 directions by fleeting whims. They know that depth is worth more than breadth, that one great purpose outweighs 100 trivial pursuits. A warrior who swings wildly in every direction will never land a killing blow. A river that splits into 100 streams will never carve through stone. Your greed is your weakness. It does not make you strong. It makes you fragile, restless, unsatisfied. It keeps you from mastery, from true power, from the sharp, focused force that shapes destinies. You must choose. Not because life demands it, but because greatness is not found in chasing everything. It is found in sacrificing what does not matter. Walk one path, and walk it fully. Burn the bridges that tempt you to stray. Do not mistake motion for progress, nor variety for fulfillment. The man who pursues everything will die empty. The man who devotes himself to one great purpose will leave a mark that cannot be erased. Escape the prison of the mind. Return to the realm of feeling. You have been taught to worship the mind, to kneel before the cold, ruthless god of intellect. You dissect, analyze, and calculate as if truth can be captured through sheer force of thought. You believe that if you think long enough, if you unravel every possibility, if you anticipate every outcome, you will finally find certainty, control, peace. But tell me, has your thinking ever freed you? Or has it only built a tighter cage? The mind is a labyrinth, and the more you wander, the more lost you become. You replay old conversations, anticipate future betrayals, argue with ghosts that do not exist. You take each emotion and strip it bare, reducing love to logic, fear to patterns, longing to mere chemical reactions. But life is not a puzzle to be solved. It is an ocean to be felt. And yet, you stand at the shore, afraid to step in, afraid to drown in something you cannot measure. You are not born to be a machine. The greatest moments of your existence, joy, passion, ecstasy, grief, are not products of analysis, but of experience. A child does not question why the sun is warm, why the wind is soft against the skin, why laughter erupts without reason. A beast does not hesitate before leaping, nor does a storm pause to consider its purpose. Only man, with his endless questions, his relentless overthinking, has severed himself from life's raw pulse. Enough. Abandon the need for absolute certainty. Let the mind rest. Feel the weight of your own body, the pulse of your heart, the breath that moves through you like the tides. There's more truth in a single moment of deep sensation than in a lifetime of speculation. The mind will always doubt. The body never lies. Learn to listen. Learn to trust. Stop trying to understand life. Live it. Work sharper, not harder. The world glorifies toil. It sings praises of exhaustion, of sleepless nights and endless hours spent grinding away at the altar of productivity. You have been told that success belongs to those who work the longest, who sacrifice the most, who wear their fatigue as a badge of honor. And so you push yourself further, stretching your days into endless corridors of labor, mistaking movement for progress, mistaking exhaustion for achievement. But effort without precision is like a dull blade hacking at stone. It does not cut, it only blunts itself against resistance. A man who swings wildly at 1,000 targets will strike nothing, while one who aims with clarity can kill with a single blow. Work is not measured in hours, but in impact. 3 hours of absolute focus surpass 10 hours of scattered, anxious effort. The undisturbed mind moves like a predator, efficient, relentless, and deadly in its precision. Yet you resist stillness, fearing that if you slow down, if you step away, the world will outpace you. Fools believe that rest is weakness, that pauses are wasted time. But the greatest warriors, the sharpest minds, the most ruthless masters of creation all understand one thing. Power comes not from constant exertion, but from the rhythm of intensity and release. A bowstring held too tightly will snap. A mind never given rest will break. You do not need more time. You need fewer distractions. You do not need endless to-do lists. You need the discipline to finish what you start. Work like a sculptor, not a factory worker. Strip away the unnecessary. Refine each strike. Let precision be your weapon. Burn the idea that busyness equals worth. Do not drown in shallow labor. Dive deep into mastery. Let the others exhaust themselves in meaningless motion. You will move with the patience of a hunter, the focus of an artist, the clarity of a warrior. And when you strike, it will be enough. Your only rival is who you were yesterday. You have been poisoned. From childhood, you were thrown into the great arena of comparison, forced to measure yourself against others as if life were some grotesque race, as if happiness were a trophy given only to those who outrun the rest. You were taught to watch your neighbor, to count his victories, to weigh his fortune against your own. And so you became a slave, not to your own will, but to the fleeting successes of strangers. But tell me, what has this race given you? Has it brought peace? Has it sharpened your soul, or only filled it with resentment and doubt? The victories of others are a mirage, shining in the distance, always ahead, always just out of reach. You chase them endlessly, believing that if you only run a little faster, work a little harder, you will finally catch up. But there is no finish line. The moment you reach one peak, another appears, and another and another. The hunger never fades. The thirst is never quenched. What a waste. What a pathetic, hollow way to exist, chained to the footsteps of those who do not even know your name. Their success is not yours to chase. Their path is not yours to walk. You are fighting a battle that was never meant to be yours. Turn away. Let them run. Let them strive. Let them exhaust themselves in pursuit of shadows. Your focus must be singular, yourself, and only yourself. Not the version of you that exists in someone else's eyes. Not the imagined self that meets the expectations of society. No, you measure yourself only against the one who stood where you stand yesterday. Were you wiser today than you were then? Stronger? More disciplined? More fearless? If the answer is yes, then you are victorious. If the answer is no, then you have work to do. But in either case, the path belongs to you alone. Greatness is not born in comparison. It is forged in solitude, in the quiet, relentless refinement of one's own being. The man who watches another's garden will never tend to his own. The man who sharpens his own blade will always be ready for battle. Let the world chase illusions. You will build yourself, brick by brick, day by day. And in the end, when the others are lost, still running, still empty, you will stand unshaken. Embrace uncertainty. Do not fear it. You stand at the edge of a vast, uncharted wilderness. Life, that is. It stretches out before you, wild, untamed, unyielding. You look upon it with a mix of awe and terror, longing for control, for certainty, for an answer to the great question, what will happen next? You think that if you only plan enough, if you only organize, if you put every step into place, you can master it. You want to tame this chaos, make it bend to your will. But this is the great lie, the cruel illusion. Life will never be fully controlled, nor will it ever be fully predictable. The storm cannot be contained by the hand of man. The river cannot be steered with a simple gesture. The more you fight it, the more it will slip through your fingers. The more you try to build walls around it, the more it will find its way through cracks you never saw coming. Why do you resist? Why do you cling so tightly to the comforting illusion of control? Because you fear the unknown? Fear the darkness of what could be, or what might not be. But what if I told you that it is precisely in the uncertainty that life's greatest treasures lie? Chaos is not the enemy. It is the very forge where your future is shaped. It is in the mess of creation that greatness is born. The most powerful transformations in history have not emerged from safe, orderly plans, but from the wild, unpredictable forces that no one could have predicted. The most brilliant ideas, the most profound breakthroughs, the deepest moments of meaning, none of them come from trying to control everything. They come from surrendering to the process, trusting that even in the chaos, something greater is at work. You must stop fearing the unknown. You must stop seeing it as a threat and start seeing it as a partner in your journey. Trust in the flow of things. Trust in the moments of uncertainty. Because the moment you release your desperate need for control, the moment you stop clinging to an imagined stability, is the moment you open yourself up to the wild, raw energy of life itself. Chaos is not destruction, it is creation in its purest form. And when you learn to trust it, you will learn that the process is more powerful than any plan could ever be. Let go. Dive in. Let life shape you as it wills, and you will find that it has something far greater in store than anything you could have controlled. Slow down before life-altering decisions. The world tells you to act fast. Don't hesitate. Don't second-guess yourself. Just take the leap. Everyone around you screams in the language of urgency, as if the moments of your life are fleeting and must be grasped before they slip away. Impulse becomes the ideal, the badge of bravery, the mark of decisiveness. Yet, in reality, impulse is nothing but the child of fear, a desperate rush to avoid the discomfort of silence, of stillness, of contemplation. And in this frantic rush, you often miss the deeper currents that will ultimately shape your fate. Think about it. How many times has your hasty decision brought you regret? How often have you rushed into choices, big and small, only to find yourself bound by the very thing you believed would set you free? Impulsive decisions are not acts of strength, but of weakness. They are the response of a mind that cannot bear uncertainty, that seeks to fill the void of fear with action, no matter how misguided. In the end, this rush only leaves you more entangled, more ensnared by the consequences of your hastiness. To pause before a decision is to wield a power that most will never understand. It is to step back, to gather the mind, to allow the heart to calm. There is wisdom in the space between thoughts, in the stillness that allows the noise to settle, revealing the truth hidden beneath the surface. A man who does not rush is a man who sees more, who feels deeper, who moves with purpose and clarity. Give yourself that pause. A day, a moment, a full 24 hours, is all it takes to unravel the complexity of your desires and fears. In this time, you will see what was hidden, what was clouded by your initial desire to act. You will feel the weight of your decision, not just in your mind, but in your body, your spirit. You will give yourself the space to understand the full scope of your choice, to hear the voice of reason amidst the chatter of impulse. In this sacred pause, You will find that wisdom does not speak in a rush, but in silence. The answers will come, not in the heat of the moment, but in the stillness that follows. And when you finally act, it will not be from fear, nor from impatience, but from a place of deep, unwavering certainty. Stop resenting and holding on to the past. You carry a weight that no man should bear, the weight of old wounds, the bitterness of past wrongs, the festering poison of grudges long after they've lost their meaning. You cling to these memories, as if they define you, as if the pain they caused is something that must be preserved, like a monument to your suffering. But do you not see the folly in this? The more you carry, the less you move. The more you cling to the past, the less you live in the present. Every resentment is a chain that binds you to a moment that no longer exists. The people who hurt you have long since moved on, while you remain trapped in the echoes of their words, their actions. You imagine that by holding on to these wounds, you retain some kind of power over them, when in truth, you are the one who is shackled. You do not hurt those who have wronged you by harboring resentment. You hurt yourself. Every grudge steals from you. Every bitter thought drains your vitality. Forgiveness is not a gift to those who have harmed you. It is a gift to yourself. It is not an act of weakness, but of calculated strength. You release the grip of the past not because you forget what was done, but because you choose not to let it hold dominion over you. To forgive is to reclaim your power, to sever the hold that others have on your peace. It is to say, you no longer control me, no longer dictate my thoughts or my emotions. I am free of you. Forgiveness is not about excusing wrongs or erasing scars. It is about putting down the weapon that you have been carrying for far too long. You do not forgive to appease the other. You forgive to unburden your own soul. You let go not for them, but for the sanctuary of your own peace. And should you find yourself struggling with this, write. Write a letter, a confession, a declaration of all the pain you have carried. Write everything you wish you could say. Then, when the ink is dried, tear it up, burn it, release it into the wind. You will not send it, because the letter was never meant for anyone but you. You will see that in this simple act of release, you no longer need the past. Let it go. Let it drift away into the nothingness it deserves. You are the only one who has the power to stop the cycle. You are the only one who can set yourself free. Remember, everything is temporary. The world is in constant motion, and yet you cling to it as though it could be paused, as though it could be stilled. You seek permanence in a life that is built entirely on flux, constantly searching for a place of rest, a moment of peace, a certainty that never arrives. The truth is, you are chasing shadows, attempting to hold fast to things that are always slipping through your grasp. Why do you fear change? Why do you tremble in the face of uncertainty? It is because you have forgotten the most fundamental truth of existence. Everything is temporary. The sun will rise and set, the seasons will shift, and the tides will turn, each one sweeping away what came before it. In your struggle to control what cannot be controlled, you invite suffering into your soul. You resist the only truth that remains. Nothing stays the same forever. The good times, the moments of joy and abundance, they too shall pass. But so will the bad times, the seasons of loss and despair. When you live in fear of the future, you ignore the simple fact that the very things that torment you today will fade with time. The storms will pass, the wounds will heal, the darkness will give way to light. But only if you accept the ebb and flow of existence as it is. To understand the impermanence of life is to unlock a deep, unshakable peace. You are not a prisoner to your circumstances, not bound by the weight of the present moment. The weight you feel is not the burden of your life. It is your refusal to let go of what is already slipping away. When you understand that nothing is permanent, you are free to live without fear, free to embrace the ever-changing dance of life. But this is not simply an abstract truth. It is a call to action. It is an invitation to embrace the changes that come your way, to meet them with open arms and a calm heart, to surrender to the process of becoming, to flow with the current instead of against it. For it is in this flow, in this acceptance, that you will find your strength. The good times will pass, and so will the bad. All things are fleeting, and in that fleeting nature, they become beautiful. For it is in the transient nature of life that meaning is born. And when you accept this, you stop fearing change. You begin to welcome it, knowing that it brings with it both challenge and opportunity. The only constant in life is change, and it is in this great truth that you find freedom. Do not fall for provocations. You walk through life, and everywhere you go, there are others seeking to draw you into their chaos, their petty games, their pointless battles. They throw words at you like stones, hoping to see you react, to see you stumble into their trap. They want to see you lose control, to break the serenity of your mind. They seek to provoke you, to turn you into a puppet on their strings, with every word pulling you closer to their narrative. But what if I told you that by engaging, by reacting, you are only playing into their hands? The world is full of distractions, full of people who thrive on conflict, who seek to pull you away from your own center. It is a world designed to stir your passions, to make you feel something, anything, so that you forget the power you possess. The moment you react in anger, in frustration, in pain, you have lost. You have fallen into their trap, and you have allowed them to control you. But the strength of a man is not found in his ability to fight, but in his ability to choose not to. It is in his refusal to be swept up in the drama, in his decision to remain steadfast, no matter how loud the provocations become. The true test of power is not how you respond to the world. It is how you refuse to let the world dictate your response. In moments of conflict, remember the pause. This is the key to mastery. In that brief moment between stimulus and response, you hold all the power. It is in this gap, this breath, that you decide who you will be. Will you give in to the chaos, or will you remain a sovereign of your own mind, a master of your own peace? The pause is not just an act of restraint, it is an act of freedom. It is the moment when you break free from the tyranny of external events, when you take back control over your own soul. In this space, you can choose to rise above, to see the game for what it truly is, a distraction, a test of your will. When you do not respond to provocations, you transcend them. You are no longer part of a cycle, no longer ensnared by the petty games of others. And in this freedom, you will find your true strength. Let the world provoke you, let it rage against you, but never let it control you. You are the master of your own responses, and it is in that power that your peace is found. Realize life is not a race, but a journey. You rush through life as if it's a contest, a race to some unseen finish line. You're always chasing, always moving, always striving for what's next, constantly telling yourself, when I get there, then I will be happy. You live in the future, in some imagined realm of possibilities that doesn't exist. Meanwhile, life slips through your fingers. But what if I told you that you are already where you need to be? That the path you are walking is the exact one you are meant to walk? Your life, as it stands, is not a mistake, and neither is the moment you are living in. The frantic race to something, anything, is nothing but a distraction, a mirage that keeps you from seeing the richness of your present. Every step you take, every choice you make, is part of the journey, your journey, and you are already on the path. The notion that something is missing, that you are incomplete, is a myth. It is an illusion created by your restless mind, always looking ahead, never content with the now. You wait for the right time to live. You tell yourself, when I have enough money, when I have the right job, when I meet the right person, then I'll truly live. But this is the cruelest lie you can tell yourself. The truth is, life is not a race to be won. It is a journey to be experienced. And the moment you stop racing is the moment you begin to live. Every breath you take, every step you make, is a victory in and of itself. The journey is the destination, and there is no other place you need to be. The real key to inner peace is the understanding that the moment is all that exists. You do not need to wait for some future time to be happy. You do not need to wait for things to be perfect. You need only to accept what is right now. In this very moment, you are enough. In this very moment, you are exactly where you need to be. The chase, the striving, the endless reaching, it all fades away when you understand that the journey itself is what gives meaning. The greatest principle of inner peace is this: to be present, to fully inhabit the moment, without regret for the past or anxiety for the future. You do not need to arrive anywhere, for you are already here. The race is over. What's left is the journey, and this journey is everything. When you understand this, when you stop trying to run, stop trying to escape, that's when you find peace. Because in the stillness of acceptance, you realize you are already complete. The path you are on is the path you are meant to be on, and it is beautiful in its imperfection. There is no end. There is only this. And this is enough. As we reach the end of this journey together, remember that peace and fulfillment are not destinations, but the way you walk the path. Life is not a race, it's an unfolding story, and you are the author of it. So embrace each step with presence, with intention, and with the understanding that you are already where you need to be. May you find the strength to pause, the wisdom to let go, and the courage to live fully in the now. The journey is yours. Make it count.